with the feeling of sunshine. Make way today, gonna be mine. Got gold in my soul and I'm feeling good. Feeling good, yeah. Woo! Laid back, leather jacket and my black shades. $1 billion feeling like I just got paid. Knock on wood, cause it's my lucky day. Lucky day, yeah. Nobody gonna rain on my parade. Nothing but clear skies, you can't throw me shade. Yeah. Gives me oranges, I make lemonade. Yeah, yeah. Spread the love, yeah. Spread the good things, good things. Spread the love, there's a vibe all around me. Spread the love, come on. Spread the love, spread the love, spread the good things, good things. Spread the love, y'all. There's a vibe all around me. Spread the love, y'all. Come on. Woke up with the feeling of sunshine. Make way today, gonna be mine. Got gold in my soul and I'm feeling good. Feeling good, yeah. Woo! Laid back, leather jacket and my black shades. $1 billion feeling like I just got paid. Knock on wood, cause it's my lucky day. Lucky day, yeah. Nobody gonna rain on my parade. Nothing but clear skies, you can't throw me shade. Yeah. Life gives me oranges, I make lemonade. Yeah, yeah. Spread the love, yeah. Spread the good things, good things. Spread the love, there's a vibe all around me. Spread the love, come on. Spread the love, spread the love, spread the good things, good things. Spread the love.
Oh, sorry. Hello? Can you guys hear us? Yeah, we just mute us. Sorry. Yeah, and we've solved this. And if you can hear us fine and see us clearly, and you can type in the chat room to let us know, okay? Yeah, great. Thank you for your feedback, Jack. Okay, we're so glad to do the live stream again. And actually, we had an incredible lineup for today's live stream, right? And we've got a special guest has been invited to our live stream today for an incredible sharing about his scanning experiences with our Seal Lite scanner, and also his experiences on about 3D model polishing and including 3D printing. Yeah. So, whether if you are a regular or just tuning in our live stream, buckle up because we're about to embark on a journey filled with helpful info. Yeah. So, Adam, who is our special guest today?
Give me the mic.
Yeah.
So today I'm going to introduce our guest, which is George. Can you share that his work
Of course.
on social media? Yes, you can see his work. He's using the Seal Lite and scan this Ninja Turtle with great, really rich detail.
Yeah.
And today he's gonna share how he did this. And you can ask any question like the settings, like the system specs, anything related to the scan. Yep.
Okay.
So let's
Yeah.
introduce George, right?
Okay. And let's give the warmest welcome to George. Okay. And we're going to invite George, add George to our screen here. Okay. Hello, George. How are you
Hey
doing?
everyone. Great. You guys hear me well?
Yeah.
Awesome.
We're
Great.
so glad to have you here.
Oh, me too. I'm happy to be here. Thanks so much
Okay.
for inviting me.
Why don't you let us know more about yourself?
Sure, sure. Um, my name is you guys can call me also Jorge, which I'm from Caracas, Venezuela, originally. Um, so I'm an artist working in the entertainment industry, and my focus is 3D modeling characters. But I also have a background in illustration, concept art, and design. My professional experience extends from working in film, games, advertising, and animation. And I'm currently working full time in a VR game studio called Polyarc over here in Seattle. I'm currently residing in Washington. Um, I love sculpting. It's, aside from my professional work, uh, sculpting traditionally has been sort of like my creative output, my personal creative output. So for many years now, and you know, I was just very excited to know about 3D Maker Pro when it came out. If you're curious about my work, and if you want to check out my art, you can see it. You can check it out at artstation.com/Jorge Norgard. Or if you want to take a closer look at my process, I post that on my Instagram and also on my Patreon page. So yeah, so I discovered 3D scanning technology back in my college days, and back in like 2014, when I worked at Ironhead Studio. I did a short internship there, uh, but I learned so much. This in the studio, they were 3D scanning and 3D printing their traditional sculptures, and even 3D scanning actors to create props for production and film, like for movies like Batman, Spider-Man, and X-Men. And this
Oh,
was something
cool.
I never saw before, and I knew I wanted to give it a shot. But back then, obtaining a 3D scanner, it was completely out of my reach. Like the tech was very expensive. um, but now, with technology advancing and becoming more accessible to the public, I recently found out about 3D Maker Pro and decided to invest in a Seal Lite scanner to start scanning my own sculptures. After all these years. So, um, yeah, pretty. So yeah, pretty exciting times.
Yeah,
Hmm.
thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing. So, you just started to use our cell light scanner a while ago, and I
Yeah.
think you've got some experience to share with our audience.
Hmm.
So, why don't you switch your screen and you can do your demonstration? Okay?
Sure. Sure. Just one second. Let me get this right here.
Okay.
Let's see.
Hello, Vincent. Vincent said, thanks for all your help in the past. You're welcome. I'm glad to help you.
Yeah. If anyone has
And
any questions, please shoot already. I'll be happy to answer
yes,
any.
if you guys have any questions, George will be glad to
Mhm.
answer all of them.
Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna start sharing my screen. So, how can I do this? Okay, here you go.
You can
Present.
hit the present
Hmm.
button down below.
Okay, got it. Media player. Okay. So,
I'm gonna add you to the stage,
okay, can
and
you
will
guys?
be anything. You can just call us, okay?
Okay, great. So, um, I did a quick recording of scanning one of my Ninja Turtles, and this to me, it was Leonardo, and Leonardo, his pose was very complex. Um, he's crouching, like he has his arm sort of like overlapping his leg, and I thought it would be like really cool to share this with you because I thought it was going to cost me a bunch of issues through the overlap, but it was actually a surprising result. So here's a quick scan of how I did the turtle. Um, well, to start with, I didn't do any adjustments in GM Studio. I grabbed the scanner straight out of the box. I love the size of the scanner. It's small, comfortable, and very easy to handle. I was able to rotate manually um, the the sculpture as I scanned it, and it's very important to keep in mind. Hardware it is important for the efficiency of the software and the scanner. I have a i9 processor, which is a very high-end computer that it was able to handle the amount of frames uh, at one shot. I did only a couple of scans and then fused them, and it gave me this really good result. So I was very impressed, and I mean, it captured just like all the details. This is the Seal Lite, so it's like a step down of the Seal in terms of precision scanning, but it gave me just enough information for me to work my sculpture and like bring it into ZBrush and like model it even further and polish it and prepare it for 3D printing. Um, so I have the file here so we could see it a little bit closer. Let me go ahead and share another screen. Let's see if I have this open. Okay, good. Okay, share. Let's see. Okay, there you go. Bring it up. I have like multiple screens here that I'm working with. Let's see, can I maximize this? There you go. Okay. So I had Fusion. I did a little bit of a remove noise when I made the Fusion, but let me show you the first scan, right? This is what I got after I, scan it without any post processing. As you can see, right, it looks very messy. But after processing, um, I got this result, which was I was very happy. Some noise per usual. This is normal part of the scanning process. Um, but this can be removed with just a simple remove noise, it was super easy. So I noticed that I missed the underside of the hand. As you can see here, there's a hollow part right here. So, and you could see here also, like there you go. You could see it a little bit better from this angle. So I went in and did a second pass of the hand, and it was much smaller. As you could see here, I just did this piece and did a second fusion, and it gave me this result. Let me see if I can straighten this model. There you go. Much better. So one thing I wanted to add was after fusion this, if creating the fusion of this model itself, I exported it as an OBJ. Just go in File, and then Export, then Apply, and that's gonna load up a process. It's gonna process the file, and then it's gonna place that file in your folder, and then you can open that directly from any 3D modeling software, which is really nice. Let's see. So I think that I could show you guys another turtle. Let's go ahead and open up Raphael, because this is the one that you showed in the banner. So let's see if this opens. Probably needs some time to scan. Oh, there you go. By the way, Stephanie or Adam, do we have a link that we could share online to some of my followers? Because I know that some people on my page were interested in watching the stream. So is there a link that I could? Is it the link that you sent me on my email?
Of course, we
Oh.
can share the link to you.
Okay, perfect.
I think it's the live room.
We need to share the YouTube
Facebook.
channel or Facebook channel's link.
Oh yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely share those through Instagram, because I have a bunch of people that were following you on Instagram. I think people would be
Maybe
really
Henry
interested.
can help us do that.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Just wait for a second.
Maybe your followers can also join our live.
So so I did two takes on Leonardo, and look, it took me like 10 minutes to do the entire scan, but then it took a while for it to process. I recommend that if you have, let's say, a processor not as powerful, to do several scans, do smaller scans, and then fuse them as you go. So that will help your computer sort of like take the load, like really process it in an efficient way. If you do too many frames, it might, your computer might struggle a little bit. So just keep those things in mind. All right. So, well, you know what? While this is loading, I am going to show you the turtles in ZBrush, because now that we saw Leonardo, now we have an idea of how they look in GM Studio. Let's see if I can share this on ZBrush. I can't find it. Maybe I gotta share an entire screen. Yes, I do. Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. There you go. Share. All right. So going back to Leo. So now I made all these, I scanned all these turtles, right? And what's something that I really loved about the scanner is that it scanned all of it at scale. Like when I brought it into the software, it was all scaled together. Like I didn't have to like resize any pieces. Like everything really came together nicely. Even the base pieces, like all these base, this base was done traditionally as well. And I scanned it. It was really nice to like put all these together and polish it and make it work. But the scale was right on. So yeah, props to 3D Maker Pro for that. So here's the here's the final sort of like decimated version of Leonardo, which this was after me polishing it. But I want to show you guys the raw scan of Leo, how it came. So this is the model itself. You could see that it still has the holes, right? It has that surface from the base that I scanned, and it needs sort of like a little bit of polishing, right? Like, let me grab my pen here so you could see like all these floating bits here and there. Like all this had to be removed. So very easy, just by smoothing out the mesh and turning this into a Dynamesh really helps. So yeah, this is like very low res, so I gotta like crank that up a little bit. So Dynamesh. There you go. So Dynamesh will close the holes and also help you sort of like get rid of this stuff. So just by Dynamesh and like going in with like trim dynamic and polishing, and just also you can go ahead and use like select lasso and remove these pieces, and then go ahead and delete hidden. So I went little by little, just polishing these. I know this, I'm not trying to like do a ZBrush class here, but I'm just going to show you like a little bit of how I polish this out. So basically, yeah, just removing the noise. And then afterwards, like for example, you can tell that the bandana and the edges still need some definition, right? Again, this is amazing what the scanner did already, which makes it really easy to just finish up the sculpture digitally. So I went in, like for example, with my brush, and I sharpened those edges to reinforce that seam between the skin and the bandana of the turtle. Just very quickly went in and started polishing that up. So you could see immediately, yeah, it looks much more defined. And when you print it at scale, right, this is not going to be a huge sculpture, right? So once you, let's say I reduced these sculptures on the 3D print by like 20%. And it was at scale, they read just fine. I think we have a question here. So i3 Windows 11 Pro 16. Okay. I mean, it's not a bad laptop. I think maybe try doing smaller scans. It might help, and then fusing them together. That could help. Yeah. I know I'm like, I wish I knew like a bit more of like in like the tech wise. I'm just like, okay, I have a computer that's good, and that's, it works. If I could maybe, I don't know, maybe give it some more firepower. I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, definitely like consider, that you're gonna need some good RAM. I think definitely processing power for, when you're doing like this big of a scan with 5,000 plus frames. So back to the turtle, right? We have this scan, right? I went in and reinforced all these details as well. So for example, like masking, inverting the mask, and then going up to deformation, and then upping up the contrast of that detail, right? You see, you went from, we were there to here, right? So that helps a ton, right? Bring some of those details that were captured by the scanner, and just doing a general pass as well, just going to contrast, and then look at that. it just brings up all those details that you think that were a little bit lost, right? But you see, we were from here to here, right? See how much defined that is? So just by upping the contrast slider, it really helps. Obviously, like, you have to use it wisely, right? In some areas, it might not work, right? In some areas, it might just start deforming the sculpture a little bit too much, as you can tell, right? It's like, yeah, I don't think that's going to look right in the 3D print. So just use it wisely. I used it mostly in the shell, and I also upped the contrast a bit of the pouches and the face, but that's pretty much it, just very moderately here and there. Let's see. Let's go ahead and jump back to GM Studio. Let's see if this opened. Oh, there you go. Yeah, it did. So let's go. Okay, you can see now. Okay, great. So here is Raphael scan. Again, I didn't do any modifications whatsoever or tweaks in parameters. I just used it straight out of the box. Let's go ahead and check out the first hand scan. And let's go ahead and do the fusion, because the hand scan is a little noisy, right? So here's the fusion, right? And as you can see, there's a little bit more noise here. Surprisingly, this is a very symmetrical pose and standing as well, right? I was expecting the scanner to have a much easier time on this one, but hey, we also have to consider, like, how we're moving the scan. We really need to have a steady hand as we're rotating the sculpture and scanning. So for example, I was scanning the feet, and you could see here, like, it did a copy of both, right? It's sort of like it was sort of like how can you say, moved or shifted. It shifted the axis of the scanner. So it gave me that result, but it was no big deal. I quickly just made a second hand scan, and later on, I did the scan of the base. Let's see if I have it right here. And there you go. And I did a second scan of the turtle, and this time it captured the feet just fine, as you can see. And I also, as I'm scanning, I make sure the scanner, like, give it enough time to scan one part. Like, for example, I leave it there to make sure that it's picking up the information and all the details, and I'm just holding the scanner and slowly rotating my object. So that helped. And also consider highly reflective surfaces. Give the scanner a little bit of a hard time, because, right, it's like trying to scan a mirror, right? You're not really it's gonna shoot a bunch of light everywhere. The advantage about these sculptures is that they're made out of clay and they hardly reflect any light, so that helped me a ton. They're very matte finish. So yes, so that's Raphael. So should we jump back? Let's go ahead and jump back to my ZBrush. There you go. Okay. Okay. 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. If there's any questions, I need to open the door. 1 second. I'll be right back.
Sure, take your time. Okay, guys, if you have any questions for George about 3D scanning and 3D polishing, feel
Yeah.
free to pop them out in the
What do you
chat.
guys think of
The Raphael.
the scan? I mean, what do you think of it? And do you have any questions?
So, yeah. Hello?
Oh, oh, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, yeah, we can
Okay,
hear
good.
you fine.
All right, great. Okay, so let's go back to Raphael real quick. Okay. Here we go. There he is. So now Raphael, much more polished, right? I went in and inserted spheres in the eyes to polish those eyes, and went in and refined the teeth. So a little bit more work went into this scan because also the side were not there. I removed the knife, so I modeled those individually. Just also for 3D scanning purposes, it needs to, you need to make sure that there's enough thickness for the scan. So that's the other topic that I'm gonna jump onto. So you get the model thickness and scale, right? So at the size of the 3D print, you need to consider how big are the details going to show, right? Um, for example, we have the bandana again. You can tell the bandana, there's a certain level of thickness right here on this edge. Let's say if the bandana was like realistically, if I would realistically sculpt this bandana, it would be much thinner, right? In real life, it wouldn't be like this really thick piece of, cloth. But let's say if I would like sculpt it realistically to proportions, right? Real life proportions, they wouldn't really read that well as a sculpture at the scale that I was going to print, which is it's about 7 to 8 inches tall. So it is important to consider those kinds of elements, right? Also, the weapons, weapons need to be thick. This is very much applied in the miniature industry, where it needs to be very, very, let's say, graphic, in a way that you could see very notable shapes in the sculpture. So and also you need these pieces to be resilient. Like when removing supports, um, resilient to like impact, or if you're sending this piece on the mail to a client, it needs to be a strong piece, right? If they're very tiny, let's say it's like the size of a toothpick or even smaller, it's most likely it's going to break. So make sure that you have that enough thickness for the piece to be resistant to impact. So there's Vincent, you can follow me. I have a channel, I have a YouTube channel. You can just Jorge Norgard Art, and you can also look me up on Instagram, just Jorge Norgard, and I post a little bit more in depth into my work on my Patreon page, and that's patreon.com/Jorge Norgard. So after considering all these details, right, like the level of thickness, how's it looking graphically, right, how deep these cuts are, right, now we have to jump into keying and cutting. So for example, as you could see, let me put this in color. There's separate colors here, and that means these are separate pieces that are separate. we have cut the keys, the arms, back at the bandana, and the base. So this is all for printing purposes. Also really works well if you're planning on molding or casting or sending this to production. This optimizes the process of 3D printing as well. Let's say if you have a certain size of printer, and you can't really print the whole piece, the entire piece in one batch. Uh, it it really helps to sort of like arrange those pieces into the base of the printing platform of your printer. So as you can see, the base also has its keys, and everything just goes together perfectly smooth. So if we go here, for example, let's go ahead and turn on this cube, live boolean. I'm going to show you. See if I could go here. Aha. I'm going to show you the distance of these keys, because this is also important. Like, the keys are not perfectly fit, like in a way like they're touching surfaces. You need to consider the distance, like a little wiggle room between those keys. So for example, right here in the arm, there's a teeny bit of space between the key and the piece that goes next to it, right? That fits in it, the arm. You could tell right here. See, and as we move this, you could tell that wiggle room, right? If there's no wiggle room, there's a very it's a very big chance they're really not going to fit when you put them together. When you try to like assemble it once you have printed the pieces. So right there by the base as well. So this is a good trick to see how your booleans are working and how your keys are working. It's basically, ZBrush offers this live boolean option, and I have this cube on subtract over here, and it's going to subtract anything that's above that subtool, which subtools are basically the pieces in my project, right? How many models I have in there. So let's go back to the entire crew. There you go. So here's Donatello. So you see all of them are in separate pieces. And let me know if anyone has any questions or anything that we've missed. How are we doing on time? Stephanie and Adam.
So, I saw Ron has asked, can you scan pictures and signs?
Oh, scan pictures. Like for example, like come up with a scan from a 2D image. I don't know. I think the scanner is more for 3D objects, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
exactly.
Yeah. If it's a sign, like for example, like a traffic sign or like a maybe, I mean, oh, if it's a sign like a like a cylinder with a yeah, you'll probably get a cylinder in whatever shape that sign is, right?
Yes, exactly.
Mhm, mhm. So
The
yeah, it's
picture
not
is
gonna it's
also depends on the material of the surface. If it's refractive, it cannot be captured.
right. And also, I mean, Seal scanner captures texture, right?
Capture the image
Mhm,
on that paper, on the pictures.
mhm.
Using texture mode.
But to be honest, the 3D model you get will be a plain paper, something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So let's say, looks like it's 6:38. We still have 22 minutes. Okay. So let's see what
Well,
else I
it's
can show you.
different. It depends on how much detail you want to share more.
Hmm.
Do you have more things to share?
Sure. Yeah. Let's discuss more how I did Leo, because Leo, he was particularly more complex due to the swords, and I think it would be nice to show you how I tackled those swords, because the swords were, or actually, sorry, I'm like changing my mind. Let me know if you still want the swords, but I think I'd rather just um, show you how I tackled the base as well, because the base, it wasn't scanned in one shot. This base, it needed to be. Let me go ahead and share GM Studio again. I think it's important. It's an important note. And this is something I noticed and I learned throughout the process. I didn't know, I was just really just learning as I went. And I noticed that when you're scanning flat surfaces, like for example, this base over here, let me go ahead and remove. Okay, here we go. Okay. Okay. As I was scanning, I noticed that I would, since the base is relatively flat. I mean, you could tell, like, yeah, there's a little bit of thickness, but I was scanning straight down to the object, and uh, it was very easy to lose track. So be careful when you're scanning these type of objects. Make sure that, for example, these are really good reference points. These are the keys of that clay base, and these cracks. So as you're scanning, pay attention at the details and landmarks of your object, because let's say if you're scanning and you're moving around and you come back and then the object is a little bit flat like this, you might lose track. And you're going to notice when those details and landmarks start to misalign. So the way I did this scan and made it work is that I went in very slowly. I captured with just one stroke from left all the way to right. And I avoided going back, because I noticed, like, when I went back, uh, the edge wasn't really strong enough to hold the alignment, and neither did these. So for the turtles, it was no problem, because the turtles are really straightforward, right? It's a body, but a flat surface like this, um, I had a little bit of issues. So which were really like no big deal. I just went in and like did it again. It just took me like probably like 3 tries. Um, so let's go. Let me show you the other scan. So here's the fusion. The fusion is not bad at all. It was really, really good. So you can tell it's just a section of the base, right? I really didn't worry about the other ones. So let's go ahead and I could also show you. Let's go ahead and I have Michelangelo, or let's go ahead and do Samurai, because this was the first scan I ever did, and this was sort of like the first impression I got from the scanner. And the Samurai zombie was a sculpture. It is a sculpture that has a lot of detail, and it's not as matte as the clay sculptures. It has a little bit of reflectivity. It has a little bit of specular aspect to it. So the scanner, I mean, it did really well, surprisingly. So let's go ahead. While this opens, let's open it up to any questions. Do we have any questions?
Have any?
Okay. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
I do have a question for you
Okay, go ahead. Shoot.
because I've seen you have posted some scans in our Facebook group, and people are really amazed by your scans. But sometimes when you first receive the scanner, they didn't get the result as they expected. So do you have
Mm.
any specific suggestions to our users, like
Mhm.
mentally?
um,
Because they got really upset.
mhm, mhm.
Why I cannot get the scan?
Yeah, yeah. No, I understand how it could be like, oh, it could be frustrating, right?
Yeah.
Um, consider the type of lighting you're using. Consider the type of surface that you're scanning. Consider the speed out that you're scanning. How steady your hand is. So these are all multiple factors that you need to consider when doing this, because it could be, yeah, it could be tricky. You know, yeah, I think, and yeah, and patience, patience. If it
Yes.
doesn't come out right the first time, definitely try multiple times. I know there's people that have tried multiple times and don't get the result they want. Um, so yeah, definitely consider all those factors that I mentioned. I think definitely that would help.
Patience and practice are the key.
Yeah.
And another solution is that you can seek for support from 3D Maker Pro, right?
Also, yeah, of course, they'll be there to help.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay,
awesome.
do
How are
you
we
have
doing?
another project to show us? What
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah, so I'm opening the samurai demon that I did. It was the first scan I ever did, and it was very. I was amazed by how good it was. So
Yeah, we
let's
have
see.
seen this scan in our groups.
Yeah, yeah, I was really excited to share this one.
I
so
can see that.
yeah, so it was 30 no yeah, about 3100 frames. Um and it gave me a really just I was just surprised with how good the scan was. Like I really loved all the bumps and details it captured. Um and this material's resin. It's plastic. It's not clay. So it reflects a little bit. But it still handled it pretty well, which was great. I mean, it even captured you know, the rivets and the detail over here by the helmet. Really nice. A bit of noise. I didn't use remove noise, so remove the noise would probably do a better job at removing all these bits here and there. Um, you can tell that I missed these spots. So yeah, pretty awesome. Okay. Well, now that I've shown you this, let's go back. I think we're running a little bit out of time. So let's jump into how I set up the printing for the Ninja Turtles. So I'm gonna go ahead and look up. I'm like, I should have this opened already, but I guess I don't. Okay, there you go. Open the project. So after, oh yeah, let me just go ahead and jump back to ZBrush 1 minute, because it's important to note how I how I transferred like these ZBrush files to the 3D printing software. Oh, I can see I was already sharing a screen. Okay, okay, share. Let's go down. Oh, okay, there you go. You guys can see it? Okay, great. So after keying and cutting and assembling these pieces, I went in and optimized the geometry. So what is optimizing is it's reducing the amount of polys in a model. So this was by decimating the sculpture itself, which means that not only reducing the amount of polys, but you're turning basically everything into triangles. So the polygons are usually 4 vertices, right? They're squares. So let me show you the original one, so you guys can see the difference. So I have, here's Donatello, the original. It's 3 million polygons. That's, if you send that to a 3D printing software, it's probably going to crash, right? It's not gonna handle it well. So with that in mind, just go back to the decimated version, and it's almost 350,000 polys, right? So it's a big jump decimating it. So this is just by going to C plugin and going to decimation master, pre-process current, and then after the process is done, you decimate it. So you could apply the percentage of decimation in your model just by tweaking this slider over here. And then you'd say if you do it at 10 decimation, it's going to reduce it even further. The standard is 20, which is just fine. If it's pieces that need a little bit more decimating, I usually reduce it a little bit more. So then after that is decimated, I go ahead and go C plugin, and I prepare my files for export. And how can I do that? Well, that's pretty easy. Just go to 3D Print Hub. I have my cube here. This cube is not just to demonstrate how I cut the pieces and stuff. This cube, the main reason why I had it is because the scale of this cube, I have it set to 7 inches. So you go to update size ratios. We're selected on the cube. And then this is very like arbitrary. I mean, you could choose inches or millimeters. I'm just going to go here, and then it's going to set the parameters for this cube to be this size. But what's really cool is that I can just go to, let's say I want that cube to be 7 inches, which is pretty much going to be the size where I want these sculptures to kind of be around. I go ahead and type 7, and that will automatically scale everything up to the relative size. And then I go ahead and change it to millimeters, because I know that the 3D print software works in millimeters. So let's say if I export this in inches, when I import it to my 3D print software, it's gonna import it this big. So imagine 7 millimeters, right? It's gonna be super tiny, smaller than your nail. Yeah. So make sure to have that in millimeters, and then export to STL. So the main setting that shows you that you're it's going to export everything to the size of the cube, is because the cube is basically a bounding box, and I'm telling the bounding box to be for all tools, and that is for all the pieces that I have right here. I didn't export all pieces together. I went in and exported just one turtle at a time, including the base. So after I exported, which I just went, where are you? Export STL. I get this window here. Let's go ahead to desktop. And it's ZBrush is going to ask you, hey, how do you want to name them? I usually just use the subtool name as the file name. So I have all those names there. which is really nice because then I know which pieces are which, right? And then that's going to export them. And then now we're going to jump into the 3D printing software, right? So we can open this software. Let's go ahead and drag this up. So let's go ahead. Who wants to see what turtle? What turtle do you want to see? Do you want to see Leo? Do you want to see Ralph, Michelangelo, or Donatello? Let's see if anyone's gonna vote.
Yeah, which scan do you want George to show there? You can pop up
And pop
in
up.
the comment room.
Okay, should we just move on? Which one do you wanna do?
Just choose
Vote.
one of your
What's your
favorite.
vote? Okay, well, let's go with let's go with Donatello. All right.
That's great.
Okay.
Okay, good. Okay. Here we go. Oh wait, I think I chose the wrong file. Whoops. Let me go ahead and there you go. This is the one. Oh, actually, this is gonna take a while, so I'm gonna kill it real quick. Let's see how long it takes. No, it's gonna take too long. I chose the wrong file. Let me go ahead and close it real quick and reopen it. Okay. Here we go. Reset. Restart. So this is Chitubox. This is the 3D printing software that I use. It's I think it's free to use. Actually, I don't know. I shouldn't say that, but oh, it came. I think I know why I said it's free. It's because it came with the 3D printer that I bought, which was frozen. So yeah, Chitubox is very, very practical software. It's very easy to use, and I'm gonna show you Donatello real quick. I think we have 5 minutes left. I think we might go over a little bit. Okay, there you go. Much quicker. Okay, great. So as you can see, here are all the pieces of Donatello, all split with supports added, and this is just very pretty much how it looks after adding the supports. So the things to keep in mind when 3D printing is that you don't want to. One personal tip is that you don't want to print solid pieces. You want to hollow your 3D prints in order to save material and cost, right? So the beautiful thing about this software is that it lets you. Let me go ahead and remove these supports. It lets you hollow your pieces, and it's actually pretty quick. It doesn't take time at all. As you can see, as I go up and down on the slicer, that the base has been hollowed, the arms has been hollowed. The only pieces that are solid is the only piece that is solid is the bandana, as you can tell right here, which is right. You want that to be a solid piece because it's very small, and it's really not worth hollowing. It would make it brittle too. So how after hollowing, consider creating holes. So the holes are important in order for all that uncured resin to be able to pour down those holes. Because if you don't hollow your piece, it also might create besides pulling uncured resin inside your model, it might make your model a grenade. No, just kidding. It's not. It might blow up. Not like a grenade, but it might crack because these 3D printing resins have a lot of fumes and gases that can create pressure inside your model. So it might cause some cracking in your print. So add those holes in there, and you can add holes by just clicking here, dig hole, then add a hole, and just boom, it'll give you one hole. And you can adjust the size of the hole just by going up over here and adding those holes right there. So then it's able to drain out. Hollowing, it's a simple process. You import your model. It's going to be a solid piece. You can calculate what's the wall thickness. I think 2 millimeter is great. And I use Grit 3D just to add a little bit more of just support structure inside your model. And then infill density, that's going to be the density of that grid. That will be 10%, because again, this piece, it's already has plenty of just structure that can hold on itself. The only piece that I added just a teeny bit more density in terms of grid was the base, because the base, I know it's going to have pressure, right? When you put that piece, and you don't want a base kind of warping when you're putting a piece on it. So having that extra supports really helps have that piece nice and solid. And how to add supports, very simple. Just go to the supports tab, as you can see right here in the thumbnail, and then choose what kind of supports you want. You want light, medium, or heavy. I personally go with heavy all the time, just because you don't want supports failing and loosening as you're printing your project. So I make sure you get heavy, and I don't use raft. I remove the raft, because raft, I don't think it's necessary. It's like a base that you can see it right here. See, it's like a skateboard that holds the print, and it helps it be a little bit more stable and stick better to the print platform. But you really don't need it. I just choose none, and then I just go all, and that will compute and then create the supports immediately right there. So the supports are not perfect. They're not they're not flawless. There are still some areas that would need support, and it's up to you to find those areas. So for example, these toes, they definitely need a little bit more supports, and just by clicking on those areas, it will add those supports. So for example, I noticed I was having issues on one of the prints in Donatello. It was missing supports on the chin, so I added just a few more in there. And also, a good way to see where you need supports is just by going up and down the slider. And when you usually see like it's called an island, which are floating pieces. Like for example, right here, these are called islands. These would need supports, right? But you can see that the computer took care of those, which is good. You can see here's another island. So you can see it has plenty of supports, which is good. So keep in mind those islands. The chin is a major island that was causing me issues. You could see that there's could have a little bit more supports here. So you could just click there, add a few more. Doesn't hurt. And the beauty about these supports is that they just come off very easy once the print is done, and then you can sand it off, and then glue it all together and have fun with your print. So if you want to see pictures of my 3D prints, I have those on my Instagram. And I also have a couple reels where it shows me, um, the entire process: scanning, modeling, uh, 3D printing, and then putting them together, and then seeing it next to the clay model. So I shared those on my Instagram, um, if you're curious. So I think, yeah, we're 7-3. Is there any questions? How are we doing?
Thank you, George. Thank you for sharing. It has been very instructive. I feel like I'm on the next level.
Ah. I hope, yeah, well, I'm so glad to hear that. I know it's a lot of information. It can be a little bit overwhelming, but yeah, I really hope this was helpful, and you enjoyed yeah, the presentation. It's been good. If anyone has any questions, yeah, feel free to shoot them.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So thank you, George. Thank you guys for your engagement in this live room. It has made this stream truly special. And if you enjoyed today's content, you can hit the like button, subscribe, and follow us for more live stream in the future.
Great, great.
Yes.
Is this stream going to be available for the public after?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
There will be
Okay.
a record
Oh,
on
great.
our Facebook page
Both
and YouTube
Facebook
channel.
and the YouTube channel.
Oh, wonderful. That's great.
Okay. So,
Thanks
we,
for today.
okay, we've got a comment. We want George for president. That depends on George.
I'm not sure I'm
So,
good on politics, but hey.
okay, thank you guys. Thank you for your engagement today. Until
Yeah.
next time, stay creative and stay positive. And we can see you guys in our next live. Okay, it's time to say goodbye.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, George, for today.
Thank you, George.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks so much. See ya.
Bye.
Thanks, you.